Welcome to the Linked Parishes Podcast. I'm Donald McCorkindale, Church of Scotland minister in the parishes of Carmichael and Ardnamurchan, linked with Ardgour, Morvern and Strontian, bringing you news from these parishes and beyond. Earlier this week, I met up with Elizabeth Carmichael and enjoyed some conversation. Elizabeth Carmichael is one of our elders at Ardgour, Morvern and Strontian Parish Church, mainly around Ardgour. Welcome to you, Elizabeth.
Thank you.
And Elizabeth had joined me recently in the trip up to Strathpeffer for the Presbytery Conference. What would have been some of the highlights for you from the Presbytery Conference, Elizabeth?
I think the first highlight was actually the service on the Tuesday evening. It was very uplifting. It was lovely to see people. I had thought in a way I might have known more people. It turned out I really only knew one, but it was still, it was good. And the next day, what would be the highlight? Probably Tommy McNeill. But again, there were so many good things. I was surprised by that. It reminds me of C.S. Lewis's book, Surprised by Joy.
Yeah, it was good to meet up with others around the Presbytery. It's obviously a huge area and getting to know folk. But good to know that we're part of something bigger.
Yeah. Indeed.
And you've been very busy recently because soon after the Presbytery Conference, you were off to the Guild annual meeting in Perth. Tell us a wee bit about that.
Again, well, the annual meeting is a business meeting. A Presbytery was the first time I've actually been to a Presbytery conference, which was very different from an ordinary Presbytery meeting, which tends to be business. So there's quite a distinction there. We arrived safely, which surprised us, even with the help of Mr. Google, who sometimes didn't give us enough warning. We made it by the skin of our teeth. The singing is always good, and it was this year. The speakers are good. It's very much pared down compared to what the Presbytery, the general annual meeting used to be. But still very pleasant, very hopeful, very happy.
And the moderator, Rosie Frew, was one of the speakers?
Rosie Frew was at both places. I don't think I've ever seen so much of a moderator. Because she was very much in presence at the Presbytery Conference. She was the main speaker in the annual meeting in Perth. She had the same theme because it's her theme for the whole year, which is extravagant love. And I could tell you a lot about what she said, or I can just say she's always reminding us how deep, how wide, how high the Father's love, and how much it will carry us through. It's what we need to remember when we're feeling down or low or overwrought, that God's love is still there with us. That's an important message for all of us, I think.
And at the Guild annual meeting, you would have been hearing about some of the projects that the Guild has been supporting. Any highlights there?
Yes, it's amazing the amount of money that was raised for the last 6 projects through COVID and everything else. What was it, £500,000, 500 and something thousand pounds, and that's amazing considering we weren't allowed to do the usual sort of fundraising. We also were introduced to our 4 new projects. We used to do 6, but we've cut it down to 4, partly because, like everything else, membership is a bit lower. But already we've got 30,000 for the Crossreach, the Home Start for perinatal support for your mums and babies in safe places in Edinburgh and Glasgow. For Release International, which is helping Christian women in northern Egypt, 20,000. The same, I think, for BEAR, which is setting up a body, mind and spirit church in Bulgaria. A pastor there is wanting to go into this community and we're supporting him. And the Bible Society, Bibles for Bairns, which is going to give children whose parents are willing to accept it a Bible story every year up to the age of 5, and they will then receive a children's Bible. But it's doing well too. So already 20 and 30,000 for these things. It's only been going since last spring. So it's amazing.
It is fantastic. And as you were saying with the presbytery, it's good to be reminded of being a part of something bigger. So from the annual meeting, let's now talk about Ardgour Morven Strontian Guild. How big is it?
On a good day, when people haven't broken a leg or gone off on holiday, I think we have 8 members. And I was looking through the minutes there a while ago, and I think we had 16 members before lockdown. But people have passed away, people have moved away, we miss them all. And as the young mums here will tell you nowadays, they have to work. We need 2 incomes to keep a family going. Their children now have swimming and music and all sorts of things after school, dancing, and they just don't have time for these things. When the Guild, the WRI, when these things started 2 generations ago, women were really at home all day and they needed a way of getting out and mixing with people. But that has changed, and so we have to change with it, which is why we meet during the day now, because elderly people don't want to drive at night. And we don't have... It's a long time since we had mums with young children anyway. But yes, Strontian, we used to meet at 8 o'clock so the mums could have the children at least in their pyjamas, if not in bed, before they came out. But now, so things change.
Yeah, but all are welcome. I was saying recently, it was when I was talking to Chris Miller-Craig, that was 2 weeks ago's podcast, I was saying that there's still a myth around that it's the Women's Guild.
Yes.
But it is open to all, and I think sometimes folks say things like, I'm not old enough to go to the Guild. But it is for everyone, isn't it?
It is for everyone, and the strange thing is I'm laughing because when I was in my 20s or so, I vowed I would never go to the Guild, because you always knew when it was the Women's Day at the General Assembly, all these women with hats with things on like cherries and flowers, and I vowed I would never go to the Guild. But I've changed, and so have the hats.
And so has the Guild over these years.
So has the Guild, yes.
Yes. So the next meeting of the Guild locally
is on. We always meet on the second Monday of the month. So the next 2 meetings actually are very exciting. The next one is going to be in Strontian, and it will be Zachary Wright is his real name. We just call him Zach, from the Outdoor Centre, and he's heading off to Tanzania early next year as a missionary with an emphasis on sports. And so, since our theme is living stones, he's an ideal example of a living stone in the church today. So he's going to come speak to us at 12:30. Bring your own sandwich in Strontian. And if you're coming, it'd be quite good if you could let me know, because we hope to have it in Brenda's house, but we'd like to give her a warning if there's going to be more people. And then in October, we're meeting in Lochalan in Keele Church, and it's going to be Donna Dugdale, and it's going to be a songs of praise with some of her testimony about her life because she's now training for the ministry. So these will be two really good meetings.
Excellent, yeah. And that's also making me think there's two likely candidates for guests on future podcasts. Yeah. We've got the Harvest Supper coming up quite soon on Friday the 3rd of October at Treeslake Village Hall. We've had a series going for a number of years now, the Coffee, Cake and Conversation at Treeslake Hall. And again, a small gathering, but I always think there's something really nice about just the very informal worship and conversation that we have. And Elizabeth, you make the journey up to Treeslake. What is it that you appreciate about the Treeslake gatherings?
I think I appreciate the fact that it's a slightly different group of people. It's a mixed group. We have men as well as women, which makes it a bit different from the guild, because although they're welcome to the guild, they don't come. And it's informal, but it's also can be very deep and very meaningful. People will open up about things, and so there's been lovely surprises in that too. Life is full of surprises when you really think about it.
Absolutely, yes. And our God is a God of surprises. Yeah. So these tend to be on the first Thursday of the month, but the October one, Friday evening, Friday the 3rd of October, which will be a Harvest Supper. And again, everyone is welcome. And I think last year we would have had 20 or so in the hall for a supper, and we might have a wee quiz, a few songs or something. So that'll be a Harvest Thanksgiving supper, 6 for 6:30, Friday the 3rd of October. It'd be good to have an idea of numbers. There'll be some publicity going out in the next couple of days. Or you can be in touch with myself or Elizabeth or anyone else you know that's going to it. But do check out the church website, www.peninsulachurches.org.uk. There'll be information there, and you can find us on Facebook as well. Elizabeth, let's finish off with 7 quick questions. Quick answers are okay. If we end up going off on a wee tangent, that's just great as well. Is there anything new that you've learned recently?
You're always learning new things. And sometimes you realise actually it's not new, but maybe a new slant. That Tommy McNeil, who spoke at the conference, gave us the story of Jairus, which we know so well, and the feeding the 5,000, which we know so well. But in both cases he had a different slant, and even as he talked, I suddenly thought, after he'd fed the 5,000 or all the others that were with it, because he counted them as men, although that might be, as in Gaelic, when you use one word for meaning everybody, there was 12 baskets of leftovers. So I was thinking, yes, and although we do things, we do all we can, there's still all these leftovers out there that maybe we should be using or finding. So that was something I'd learned.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Question 2. Where do you find joy?
Do you know, I often, when I'm going to church, remember the psalm, I joyed when to the house of God go up, you said to me. And I do, and I've always enjoyed going to church. And I remember one of my nieces when she was little and was visiting or staying with me for a while, she was always happy to go, and I thought she'll maybe, go to church as an adult. Unfortunately, she doesn't. But I've always enjoyed. That's a kind of joy that is different.
Yeah. I think for so many folk, they think church is just something else to keep them busy in the week, where maybe it's actually about having a wee bit of space for yourself and space with God and with others, to bring some balance to the busyness and all the rest of life.
Yes.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, I was talking to Zach last night, and we both have stories where things have happened in church that have had us in tears of laughter that we weren't supposed to be laughing at. But yes, there can be a lot of fun in a church service.
Absolutely, yeah. I think lots of folk who are not there have got an image of church which maybe belongs to former generations.
Yes, but even Burns wrote about the louse and the hair of the woman in front, so he saw the funny side too.
Well, yeah. Question number 3. Who inspires you?
I don't know that any one person inspires me. You can be inspired by a speaker in church, the minister, the conference, and you can be inspired by a book, or you can just be inspired by a conversation. But I don't think I've got one person that I think. Maybe my Aunt Maggie, who was a cousin of my grandmother's, really. She lived till she was 102. And she had a great outlook in life. But I'm told that was in her old age, and she wasn't maybe quite so placid and when she was younger. So
people change.
So, but the thing she had, and the thing I'm going to try and do from now on, take note, everybody, grow old gracefully. So far I'm not succeeding, but I will try.
Last Sunday I had read the poem Desiderata, which is that line, surrender gracefully the things of youth. Maybe there's a hymn or a song that inspires you. What would be a hymn or a song that lifts you up?
This week, and I presume I heard it last week, but to tell you the truth, I can't remember whether it was at the presbytery or it wasn't in the car, we weren't playing music, somewhere, the 10,000 Reasons. And I was thinking, oh, you can't have 10,000 reasons. And then I thought, this was even before I got up one morning, but then you should be thankful for getting up. And then I thought, my breakfast, then I thought, but the milk on my cereal, think of the fellow that milked the cow, think of the lorry driver, think of the shop, think of the, it would be easy to have 10. So that song has been inspiring me this week, but next week it will be a different one.
Thank you. A book, a film, or a podcast that you'd recommend to others?
I was very impressed with Chris's and his vision of science and faith, and partly because that resonates with what I feel, and I've no idea about science, but it seems to me if there are planets out there that we are still discovering, why can't there be a heaven out there? I really don't see why people think we only have this one life, and when we're dead, that's the end of it. I've never felt that, and I definitely don't feel it now.
A place you enjoy visiting?
I enjoy visiting almost any shore. I do enjoy going to Islay. I've always liked it from before I went to work there. I had holidayed there. It was where my grandmother had come from, although my grandmother died when I was a baby and I never knew her. And that Aunt Maggie lived in Islay and was a great influence, I suppose, on my life. So, and there's a peace and an air. But then I was in Nova Scotia and Newfoundland this summer, and it was the same. It was beautiful. So I think it's actually the sea that inspires me. I think it must be anything to do with the sea and the smell of and the sound, and that inspires me.
Thank you for all of that, Elizabeth. So, Treeslake, October the 3rd for the Harvest Supper, 6:30. It would be helpful if you can book so that we get the catering right, but do come along. And then in November, the first Thursday of November, we will have our act of remembrance at the War Memorial at Treeslake Hall, and an opportunity for coffee, cake, and conversation. And while we're talking about remembrance, remember, the 9th of November will be Remembrance Sunday this year, always the second Sunday of November. And there'll be more details nearer the time. There will be wreath layings at all the war memorials here on the peninsula, and we'll see that there are details online, Facebook, all the usual places, and in the November edition of Jehadal. On Sunday coming, the 21st of September, I'll be leading worship at Carmichael, and it will be Harvest Thanksgiving and also Communion. And at Ardgour, Anne Winning will be leading worship, and Donna Dugdale will be at Keel Church in Morvern. There'll be worship too at Ardnamurchan Church at 11 o'clock, and that will be a Harvest Thanksgiving service led by some of the elders. The other harvest celebrations will be on the 28th of September for Ardgour and Strontian, and at Keel Church in Morvern on the 19th of October. That will be a service led by some of the elders and others, and will be the Harvest Thanksgiving down there. And at all these harvest celebrations, there will be an opportunity to make a gift to the Lochaber Food Bank. Any gifts of produce will also go to the food bank, but in many ways, the best thing to do is to make a monetary gift, and then the food bank are able to purchase the goods that are most immediately needed. A wee reminder of tea and scones at Ardnamurchan, which will next be happening on Wednesday next week, 24th of September, and fortnightly, 2 o'clock until 4 o'clock through the rest of September and into October. And then from the 5th of November, the tea and scones will move to the morning, 10:30 to 12:30, and that's fortnightly. Every week, either a worship video or a live stream from one of the churches. And our next Zoom worship with communion will be on the 28th of September at 4:30. And if you don't have the Zoom details for that, do speak with me. We'll see that you get that. Wednesday evening prayers continue every Wednesday, 10 p.m, but you can catch up later. You're never late. Never the wrong time to pause, to ponder, and to pray. Good to be able to do these different online things. Just a moment ago, I had a message from a friend and colleague who's doing some research, some study leave around digital ministry and how it interacts with what we do in the church building, how it augments the big picture of what the church is seeking to do in our 21st century. And I enjoy the digital ministry. It's one of these things that interests me. I suppose some ministers bring their gift of music, playing the guitar or whatever it is. Others might use art as a way to develop and enhance their ministry. For me, it's in the digital space, in the technology. I've always been one to love the gadgets and connecting things together. And it'd be great to hear from some of you about what you appreciate about the online ministry. Our podcast, the Linked Parishes Podcast, which obviously you know about because you're listening to it. And we've got the pre-recorded worship videos, live streams, Wednesday evening prayers, Zoom communion. Yeah, there's quite a lot that we are doing. Tell me something of the why you appreciate that online ministry. I'm on a bit of a roll now with the podcasts and have committed to a weekly Linked Parishes podcast, and it's been really good to be able to involve other voices, to bring guests into the podcast. And thanks again to Elizabeth for sharing with us earlier. Next week, I will have had a conversation with Claudia Nicholson, one of our elders in Strontian. And she has recently completed the 110 or so kilometre pilgrim walk, the Camino de Santiago. And I look forward to hearing her stories of that pilgrim walk. Let me finish off with some words from the Psalms, from Psalm 65. It was a psalm that I used last night in our Wednesday evening prayers. Beautiful psalm that speaks of God as creator, but not just the in the beginning kind of creating, but that ongoing sustaining of creation. And it touches on harvest themes. Let us listen for God's word. O God, it is right for us to praise you in Zion and keep our promises to you, because you answer prayers. People everywhere will come to you on account of their sins. Our faults defeat us, but you forgive them. Happy are those whom you chose, whom you bring to life in your sanctuary. We will be satisfied with the good things of your house, the blessings of your sacred temple. You answer us, giving us victory, and you do wonderful things to save us. People all over the world and across the distant seas trust in you. You set the mountains in place by your strength, showing your mighty power. You calm the roar of the seas and the noise of the waves. You calm the uproar of the peoples. The whole world stands in awe of the great things that you have done. Your deeds bring shouts of joy from one end of the earth to the other. You show you care for the land by sending rain. You make it rich and fertile. You fill the streams with water. You provide the earth with crops. This is how you do it. You send abundant rain on the ploughed fields and soak them with water. You soften the soil with water, with showers, and cause the young plants to grow. What a rich harvest your goodness provides. Wherever you go, there is plenty. The pastures are filled with flocks. The hillsides are full of joy. The fields are covered with sheep. The valleys are full of wheat. Everything shouts and sings for joy. God, the Creator, Sustainer, Redeemer, bless you all. Thank you. Thank you for listening to the Linked Parishes Podcast. For details of all that's happening around the Peninsula Churches, check out www.peninsulachurches.org.uk. You'll find us on Facebook. God bless you all.